Got Southern Cross gravel race this weekend. Me and Zach are about to ride some single track on our setups for the weekend and suss out if we've made the right choices tire-wise, pressure-wise. So we're gonna give it a go. And I'm also gonna make sure I can get decent footage with this rig. You gonna make any changes for the race? I think the same. I think I'm good. I'm gonna just clean everything and just as it is. Yeah, tighten everything for sure. Dude, tighten your bottle feed bolts. Looks good. I think we're ready.
No, I'm on bike. That's how I got into it. Yeah.
You have a mountain bike?
Yeah, downhill in Colorado.
But do you have one still?
Yeah.
I've like never seen you ride a mountain.
Yeah. It's just a rock.
Oh no, dude, those are sick though. It's like
so
$450.
But to get the dual sided, it's only like $100 more.
Yeah.
You hook that up to a SPD?
Like the overall is what matters, you know. So even if you sign up for your age category, I'm gonna look at the overall result.
What part of Dahlonega?
It's at this. It starts and ends at this winery,
Montaluce
Winery. It's got one of the biggest climbs I've ever done, maybe the biggest. It's gravel climb, winding stair, gap climb.
But I mean, is it on like the same mountain as like on like Wolf Pen or something? You know,
Like Six Gap and all that stuff is up there. Yeah,
so
yeah. It's same area.
Same
yeah.
It's a beautiful place to ride. What's your guys' plan for tomorrow? Stick on his wheel.
Stick the front group. Yeah, there's no tactics really, because it's mass start and it's like 300 people or more. If you're 50 wheels back and people at the front split it off, like you're done. There's a big section of road between the two climbs too. So if you can make it over the first climb with people and ride that road section together, you go so much faster. Like go back down to that. Okay, there's Zach, Van de Velde, and Hincathy. This is the Descent KOM.
Ain't got shit on me.
Well, we're out. See you later. Thanks for letting us stay, man.
Yeah, always.
What's the ride you're doing called?
What bridge?
Wet bridge?
Web
bridge. It's called Wet Wooden Bridge with a 90-degree turn in the middle ride. Later. Hey, Crain.
Alright.
What's up, y'all?
What's up, brother?
How's it going?
It's a buck.
Your kid day.
Oh, nice.
Fresh. No sponsors.
It's nice and aero.
Starlight. I have that jersey, but just blank white. They're good.
Oh, nice.
I think I'm Spartanburg's at Friday.
I'm not going to do Spartanburg, but I'm going to do the red. I think I'm going to start on the Tuesday and then try to... And we are off. This was a super hard start, as you can see from the video. This race starts with about 3 or 4 miles of pavement to get off of the winery grounds before you hit the proper dirt loop. This race is about 48 miles, about 6,000 feet of elevation, so a lot of elevation per mile. It takes about 3 hours. I would say anything under a 3-hour time is considered a really good time, and that's part of why this is my favorite gravel race. It seems like the big gravel races are getting longer and longer and longer, things that are 5, 10, 12 hours for a lot of the amateurs, and at distances like that, times like that in the saddle, you really can't race it as hard and as dynamic. You can't really attack groups. You sort of have to find your pace that you think you can do for that amount of time and just lock it in. Otherwise, you're going to dig yourself an insanely deep hole and be crawling in by the finish. This race is hard enough to be selective with all the climbing and then short enough to still be really dynamic. So that's the balance I like. This footage right here, we have gone up the first climb. I was with that guy in purple for a a minute there. He jumped across to another group that I missed, and this group of 3, they picked me up on the plateau that's sort of, you ride along this ridge, you can see the insane view to the left here. We ride along this ridge for a while, then we have a really big descent off of this, and then another road section which leads you into another huge climb. It feels like this race is up or down the whole time, but it really comes down to 2 major climbs. They both go up Springer Mountain. It's kind of a figure 8 to the same point twice, but you use different roads to get there. The front side climb is called Winding Stair. That's probably the more iconic of the ways to climb it. The backside, the Strava segment is just called Meat of the Climb. I don't think that one has a particular name. It's just another climb up Springer Mountain, but they're both about 12 to 1500 vertical feet depending on where you start counting, but certainly 1200 at least in one solid shot where you're pretty much going up the whole time. The front side is much steeper though. So what we're looking at in the video here is the proper descent off of Springer Mountain the first time. I meant to film some of the climb going up the first time, but honestly after that road section where I got a little bit of footage, there just was not a moment I could take my hands off the bars. We were pinning it all the way into the base of the climb this time, and normally in the past there have been some attacks on the little rollers that lead you into the climb, and the front group has whittled down, but this year the front group stayed huge even with there was a crash, which hope Spicy from Atlanta, hope you're all right. I saw that guy go down pretty hard right as we were hitting the gravel for the first time, and people were kind of dodging potholes. But even with the crash at the front, and I was behind the crash, so I had to chase back onto the front group, that put me near my limit, and then I kind of just stayed on the limit until we hit the base of the climb proper. But in the past, even the year, I guess the fastest I've ever done this race was 2018, I believe, when like George Hincapie, Christian Van de Velde, Thomas Turner, Drew Dillman, U23 cyclocross national champion, there were a ton of pros, ex-pros, current pros at that edition, and I made the front group, and it was only 8, 9, 10 of us in that front group that day. This day felt much harder, even harder than sticking that elite group I was just listing into the base of the climb. I think part of that was because we were all jockeying for position, but there were about 30, 40 guys in contention when we hit the base of the climb, and I was straight up just too far back. Once you hit that climb proper, there's kind of just 2 good lines. Not too many vehicles, motor vehicles, make it up that climb, so the dirt gets kind of insane. There's big rocks, washouts, all kinds of stuff. There's basically like 2 packed down lines you can ride. Also, because it's so steep, if you get off the good lines, you're just going to lose the wheel and spin out. So it kind of just turns into 2 pace lines going up the mountain. And if you're, 30th to 40th wheel in the pace line, as I was when you hit the mountain, I was just kind of back there punching tickets, meaning that like someone in front of me starts letting a gap go, and then I gotta come around them onto the super soft stuff where I'm losing the rear wheel, maybe fighting for traction, maybe having to like hop over some rocks on the uphill. It's just like not ideal. It's a huge effort to get around them and maybe just barely back onto the group, and then I'm still on my limit on the back of the group. So after punching a bunch of tickets like that, I had to just settle into my pace somewhere in the 20s, and I was really on my limit. But looking back at it, I went about a minute faster. It's like a 25-minute climb at pace, in the fast group. I went a minute faster in the George Hincapie, Christian Van de Velde group than I did on this day, and that was a sort of like ideal conditions. I made all of the splits, I wasn't behind a crash, and I wasn't punching tickets. There was nobody getting dropped from that group. I could just hang on to the back, and it was super smooth, really good pace. So I'm not mad about it. I am really glad that I was able to get together with this group and hit this road section fast, because this section between the 2 climbs is so much faster if you're with some people. So I'm a little farther back than I expected to be. I expected to be kind of in the teens, and I'm in like the low 20s here, but I really think this was just a super fast group. I think more younger, stronger people are going straight to gravel rather than really trying to make a career of it on the road. So the level of competition at these races is just going up, and that's something I'm going to have to keep in mind a little bit more, be more wary about my positioning. I guess having done this race several times, I kind of assumed it was going to be easier, or as easy as it had been in the past, for me to get good position into the climb. And at this point, I was kind of in my head about it, thinking that maybe I hadn't done enough. But actually looking back at the numbers and looking back at how fast we were going, and considering how bad the roads are as we cross over that nasty pothole right there, I think the conditions of some of the gravel roads weren't quite as good, maybe as they have been in the past. And I think the segments where that matters, the flats and the downhill segments, where the road condition is really the limiter of how fast you can go, I don't think anybody was putting down like PR course record type times. I don't think that was down to the skill of the group, because they were going just as fast on all of the really pedally sections and all of the uphill sections, if not faster than a lot of years. I think it really was just the road conditions were a little bit limiting this year. I saw a few people with like race-ending mechanicals, so I am thankful I made the right choices gear-wise, other than the one dropped chain, which I did drop that chain, lose the group, had to get off and fix it, but no one else caught me. I didn't lose any more spots. I just had to TT in, as we see right here. But yeah, no other mechanicals on the day, which was awesome. I ran a 38 tooth chainring with an 1132 cassette. I probably could have gone for like one more gear on the steep stuff on Winding Stair, but I made it through with that. I don't think I would want to go any smaller on the chainring. I probably would just want a bigger cassette, but that's what I'll run for cyclocross, so I'm used to it. I was running some 38C Schwalbe G1 tires, which I think is maybe the best gravel tire for riding in Georgia. It's got a tread that's like a bunch of tiny knobs really closely spaced together, and I find that those things on the sort of packed down dirt roads in Georgia, having a lot of little corners that are not really digging deep into the dirt, because a bigger knob doesn't really dig down deep into that stuff very much. There's not much to grab there, but having a lot of little knobs really grabs on. So here I am kind of sprinting in, people cheering me on. Even though there's no one to sprint, I'm still hauling. This last grass section here, coming back onto the winery grounds, is brutal. Rolling in for third in my age group and 22nd overall. Here's the guy that got away from me with that attack on the downhill.
You want to see if the results are posted? What's up? How'd it go?
I had some good internal races.
That's a good way to put it.
I did.
Hands up.
Yeah, Crain.
See you guys later.
See you, man.
We're gonna get out of here. Safe travels. Yeah. Oh man, that was hard. So that was Southern Cross 2022. I was third in the 30 to 39. Zach was second in the 20 to 29. We were 22nd and 36th overall, respectively. It was a really stacked field today. It was really on from the gun, even in the neutral, up to the first climb. Zach, how was your race?
Better now that it's done.
Yeah, type 2 fun.
Not the legs I was hoping for. 10 minutes slower than last year, but that's bike racing.
I think the course was slower.
Yeah, just say that.
I think the course was a little bit slower this year.
Pinned from the gun.
Yeah, pinned from the gun, but there was no choice. Like, it was just on. Everybody was so antsy to be at the front that there was no other option. Like, you couldn't just let off a little bit. I felt like if I was letting gaps go even a little bit, someone would just slot into them, and then I was going backwards. There were people in the neutral, like, going into the oncoming traffic lane and, like, sprinting up the side. That kid kept breaking out of his pedals. Yeah, it was a good race. It's always worth doing this race, just to go ride that course, because it's such an awesome course. It's always fun to see everybody. People come from all over to do this race, so it's always a great event. Yeah, well run, good course, always a good time. We've got Birmingham Hammerfest next weekend, which is going to be, I'm going to get destroyed in the Pro 1-2 race with Legion and Automatic and Best Buddies and Miami Blazers, but Zach and the rest of the team will be in the Cat 3 race, and I expect that y'all will crush it. But yeah, that's up next. Hopefully I'll have a video from that. I don't know what I'm gonna do. We'll figure out if I'm gonna run the camera during my race or like vlog style, get some of their race. I don't know. I'll have something.